Hi, everyone! You probably remember that Mia and I have this map, and we're on a quest for a giant buried treasure filled with the most exciting books in all the land. That's right, Mia! The treasure chest had 5 padlocks on it, which meant we needed the 5 keys to reading comprehension to open it. You've helped us figure out 4 of those keys so far. That means the treasure chest now has only 1 padlock left, and we only need 1 more key. We now know how to find the meaning of vocabulary in context, the main idea of a passage, details that are in the text, and how to use details as clues. So, we are going to practice more of our reading skills, read our map, get the final key, and recover the treasure! Are you ready? Off we go! Before we get our final key to reading comprehension, do you remember what reading comprehension is? Comprehension means understanding. So reading comprehension is being able to understand what you read. That means you have to understand the main idea, the details that are in the text, details as clues to make conclusions about things that aren't in the text. A shark! I think he's trying to scare us. There may be a lot of things that we have to do while we read, but reading comprehension is not scary. Oh, looks like he's guarding the final key. We have got to get that final key to reading comprehension so we can open the treasure chest. This shark has a lot of scrolls, but don't worry, we're not going to read all of those passages. Like I said, this shark wants us to think that reading comprehension is scary, but look at how far we've come. You have gotten 4 keys, and you're almost ready for the 5th. We're so close! Before we get that final key, let's take a look back at our other keys. The first key for reading comprehension was vocabulary in context. Reading carefully helps make sure we understand the context of what we're reading, which helps us understand the meaning of each word that we read. Let's start reading this passage thinking about our first key. Chomp, chomp. Sharks might seem a little scary at first because of all of their big, sharp teeth. But the truth is, sharks are not as frightening as they appear. Sharks live in the ocean, and most of the time they stay away from people. In fact, they are truly cool creatures. Were you reading carefully? Did you see the word cool? What does that word mean in this context? Sometimes cool is talking about temperature, as in not cold, but cool. But in this context, I think the author is saying that sharks are amazing and awesome. They're cool. While I was reading, I started getting some ideas about what the passage might be about, which got me thinking about key number 2. The second key to reading comprehension is the main idea. When you read carefully, You make sure you're understanding and thinking about what you're reading, which will help you figure out the main idea. Do you think you know the main idea of what we just read? Pause the video and read it again. So, what's the main idea? Reading carefully helped me to notice that the author is saying sharks might seem scary at first, but that the truth is sharks are not as frightening as they appear. Hey, I think that's the main idea of this passage. Reading carefully really helped me figure that out. The third key to reading comprehension is details in the text. A text has so many details that give you lots of information, like where something is from, what somebody is doing, or how something is possible. Let's read the next part of the passage and keep an eye out for details. Did you know that there are over 500 different kinds of sharks? Most of them are not as big or as toothy as we might think. Many of them are small. The smallest shark, the dwarf lantern shark, can fit right in your hand, which isn't so scary. Notice any details in the text? I was really impressed with the detail that there are 500 kinds of sharks. And that brings us to our fourth key. The fourth key to reading comprehension is details as clues. We learned that some details in the text are just clues, and that we have to think beyond the text to figure out what the author is really saying. Let's read the last part of our passage and see if we can use any details as clues. Sharks might seem scary, but some people actually hunt them for their meat, skin, and fins to make things like food or medicine. So the next time you see a pointy gray fin go by, it might not be on the hunt. Maybe it's being hunted. Wow, I really started thinking beyond the words there. What do you think the author meant in that last sentence when they wrote a pointy gray fin? This detail isn't written in the text, but I know that lots of sharks are gray. I know that sharks have fins, and I know that fins come to a point. So I think when the author wrote, "The next time you see a pointy gray fin go by," they were talking about a shark. Okay, let's see here. Key 1. Vocabulary in context. Key 2, the main idea. Key 3, details in the text. Key 4, details as clues. 4 keys. It's time. It's time for key number 5, the final key. The final key is putting it all together to answer questions about what you read. So, all we have to do is show off our reading comprehension skills, answer a question about this shark passage, and then this shark will be ready to give us the key. Ready to put all these keys together and get that final key? Let's do it! Now that we've read our passage, it's time to answer a question about it. Whenever you answer a question about what you read, step 1 is reading the question really carefully. You want to make sure that you know what the question is really asking. Here's our question. What is the name of the smallest shark? Did you read that carefully? That's not asking me about the size or the shape. It's asking me for the name. Okay, step number 2. Read all the answers. Be sure to read all the answer choices before you select one. Even though the first answer choice might look correct, there might be another choice that is even better. Okay, our question is, what is the name of the smallest shark? Is it the tiny shark, the lantern shark? Hey, that sounds like it could be right. But I guess we should follow step 2 and read all of the answer choices before we pick one. The dwarf shark, or the dwarf lantern shark. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I think step number 3 is going to help. Step number 3 is reread the passage if you need to. This isn't a memory test. It's fine to go back and look at the passage again. The goal isn't to go as fast as possible. The goal is to work those reading comprehension muscles so that they'll get really strong. Pause the video and reread the passage. Okay, we followed our steps for answering questions. Read the question carefully, read all the answers, reread the passage if you need to. There's only one thing left to do. Let's answer this question and get this final key. What is the name of the smallest shark? The tiny shark? The lantern shark? The dwarf shark? Or the dwarf lantern shark? It's the dwarf lantern shark! Yes, you did it! The final key to reading comprehension is putting it all together. You have to use all the keys at the same time when you're reading, right? And now you have all of those keys. Let's open up this treasure. Enjoy your reading adventure and don't forget to always stay clever.
Hey, hey.